Real Madrid have been very active during the summer transfer window. They've bought some serious good players. However, they still haven't bought a single central defender. And in my opinion, that's a very huge problem that Madrid must fix before the season starts in a couple of weeks' time. Now, Madrid have 5 main centre backs, okay? And in my opinion, there are problems with each of these centre backs that Madrid must address by buying a new centre back. So in this video, we're going to break down what those problems are and the players that Madrid should buy in the near upcoming future. So let's break down first Antonio Rudiger. In my opinion, he is by far the second best defender around Madrid. However, the problem is, right, although he is solid defensively, he is old, okay? He's reaching 34 or 35, and he doesn't have the legs or recovery speed he used to have. Him being older means he could become more prone to injury problems, and that is disastrous for Real Madrid in the upcoming season, okay? Number 2, Eder Militao, in my opinion, is Real Madrid's best defender. But as we all know, okay, he has had 2 back-to-back ACL injuries, okay? And it's hard for him to stay fit now. He's constantly injured and he's coming back from an injury. Their best defender is currently out, and that is disastrous for Real Madrid currently. So that's another issue with Eder Militao, injury prone, and I fear that his best days are behind him. Then we have Dean Huijsen, okay, who has massive potential in terms of passing and being, let's say, a deep-lying defensive playmaker. However, okay, last season, he made too many mistakes. We saw his inexperience in big games defensively. On the ball, he's very, very good. He has good long-range passing, and the ability to play out of defense is definitely a big strength. But defensively, he is a centre-back, okay? And as a centre-back, your main attribute should be being strong defensively. And Dean Huijsen doesn't really show me that. Yes, he has great passing, can play out from the back, but his defensive work rate and him being solid is by far behind Eder Militao and Rudiger. And I feel like in order for Dean Huijsen to work and for him to play his passes very well, he needs a very, very strong centre-back behind him. In fact, Dean Huijsen and Eder Militao pairing would bode well for Real Madrid. Eder Militao, the best defender, and we have the passing range of Dean Huijsen. However, Militao is probably not going to get back to his form pre-injury, and Dean Huijsen isn't good enough at the moment defensively, okay? So that's 3 issues so far. Madrid have signed another guy called Ibrahima Konate, all right? And I know that he was poor last season. However, he had personal family issues. I think his dad passed away. Then the whole Jota death, unfortunately. But he was just too inconsistent last season. Very inconsistent. So in one game, he looks very, very good. And in the next few games, he's pretty poor. His inconsistency is a big problem. Now, Madrid signed this guy on a free. So they didn't spend any money on him to get him right from Liverpool. They signed him on a free. However, his inconsistency is a big problem. And in fact, even with France in the World Cup, there were times where he looked pretty horrible during the recent World Cup. So once again, that's another issue with their centre-backs. And that's 4 CBs I've gone through so far. Then we have Raul Asensio. Now, this guy has massive potential. However, last season, for some reason in big games, this guy is so prone to mistakes. Makes some stupid tackles, stupid decisions. I don't think he started to level around Madrid. He's a good squad player to come on against tired legs. But however, him starting as a regular centre-back for Real Madrid, I don't feel he's good enough. He's definitely a squad player. And I feel like against smaller teams, you can play him against, but big games, he lacks the mentality to handle the pressure. I think he has a lot of mental issues in terms of handling big games, and he's too error-prone for him to start at Real Madrid. Real Madrid have a massive problem, with their centre-backs. And I feel like if they don't buy a player this summer, it's going to be very disastrous for Real Madrid. They need a centre back, preferably a left-footed centre back, to pair with Antonio Rudiger, who is definitely going to be a starter in the defense, but he's quite old. They need a younger guy alongside Rudiger. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I believe Real Madrid should sign next year. And I think there's two main players here that I want to definitely profile as them potentially signing this summer. The first guy is Alessandro Bastoni. I feel like this guy, he's a class defender. He's super class. Left foot, great on the ball, plays great passes out the back. He's also great tactically, flexible. He can play as a back four or in a back three. We've seen that with Inter Milan very well throughout the last few years. And he's great one-on-one. And at 27 years old, this guy brings in massive experience. Okay, he's won multiple Serie A titles with Inter Milan, won Euro 2020 with Italy, and of course has played in the highest level of the Champions League. He's played in 2 Champions League finals. So he's used to the big stage. He comes in at 27 years old with a lot of experience here, and he's practically entering his prime right now. Okay. And I feel like this guy, he's one of the best centre backs right now that Madrid should be going after. Left-footed, tall, can pass. He's basically what Dean Howson should be, but he's older and better, right? He's tall like Dean Howson. He passes great like Dean Howson, but he's a lot more better defensively. Great experience. And I know people talk about how, he played in the final last year where Inter lost 5-0 against PSG. I think the whole Inter team didn't play well. And I feel like PSG was just simply unplayable that day. It happens. Okay. But if you actually watch the 2023 final, Inter Milan against Inter versus Man City, Bastoni had a very good game. I think they lost by 1 goal, and it was a Rodri goal, if I'm not mistaken. So he's played in 2 Champions League finals on the biggest stage, has won Euro 2020. He is, in my opinion, a player that Real Madrid should be going after. Then they have Nico Schlotterbeck, a guy from, I think, Borussia Dortmund, okay? Also tall like Bastoni, all right? And also passes very well like Bastoni. In fact, he ranks amongst the best centre-backs in Europe for progressive carries from the deep, from defence to attack. And that's what Real Madrid need, especially with them signing Diomande, and SB as a striker, etc., and renewing Vinny. They're going to need some great passes towards the attack to make the whole thing work. He's also left-footed. He's very tall and strong, dominant in the air, aggressive defensively, and of course he has plenty of Champions League experience, okay, and is comfortable defending high up the pitch. For me personally, he has a profile Real Madrid are missing. Athletic, great on the ball, and still young enough to improve further. He's only 26. I think he's 1 year younger than Bastoni. So these are 2 defenders here, basically in their prime or reaching their prime years as defenders that can pass ball well, that are tall, strong defensively. And Madrid have to sign a centre-back this summer. They have to. Whether it's one of these 2 or someone else, they have to. The current centre-backs they have right now are, in my opinion, not good enough. And I think it will be a problem next year if not addressed. Rudiger, he's too old. He's right now, he's too old. And he's not good as he was a year or 2 ago. Okay, Eder Militao, 2 back-to-back ACLs. I fear, he won't get back to his pre-injury form. 2 ACLs, that's pretty intense. That's crazy. Dean Howson has a potential, but more of a greater passer and distributor of the ball than he is defensively. In fact, I'd rather him be great defensively than him being a great passer of the ball. He is a centre-back, and as a centre-back, defence should be your main attributes. Ibrahima Konate on his best day can be extremely good. Very, very good. However, he's too inconsistent and he does make some dumb mistakes. We saw it last year at Liverpool. We saw it in the World Cup with France. This may be a problem. Raul Asensio, I think he's better as a squad player. I don't think he's a starter for Real Madrid. Too inconsistent, too rash, too error prone. So this bodes as a concern for Real Madrid. Now, I feel like if they don't sign a centre back, it will probably be an Antonio Rudiger and Dean Housen starting, or Dean Housen and Ibrahima Konate as the starters. Okay, and I feel that that's disastrous unless Konate starts being more consistent, starts playing well. We don't know. Okay, they need one centre back, and I feel like the best ones that are out there for Real Madrid are Bastoni and Nico Schlotterbeck. So we shall see how they're going to address this in the upcoming season. I'm Shirless Matchday. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.